Today we're making gingerbread people. There are men, ladies, children, and you could even have animals if you want to. Super easy, really delightful, and delicious. Let's get started. Starting off with 3 cups of all-purpose flour. 3 cups is 360 grams, in case you're wondering, so just a little bit more. Perfect, okay. Now we're gonna add our spices in, get this really gingery. So, I have a 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, a teaspoon of cinnamon, and I have 2 teaspoons of ground ginger, but if you're worried about the bite, cut it in half, use less. You can't use none then, because then you can't call them gingerbread cookies. 1/4 teaspoon of salt and baking soda. Let's talk about this for a second, because I'm gonna warn you, your gingerbread men are gonna be a little bit Rubenesque. They're gonna puff up. So if you want that nice pillowy consistency for gingerbread that's fresh out of the oven, a little bit of leavening agent helps. But if you want them to be like more almost sugar cookies, you're gonna skip this, like chill, cut down the molasses, and they'll be a bit more svelte. 1 teaspoon of baking soda, in you go. Sift this together, and then we're gonna give it a whisk, and then we're gonna set it aside. This is why you want to sift, by the way, because you'll end up with these giant granules or like little boulders of ginger otherwise. And that's going to be a spicy surprise. Although it might teach your kid a lesson. Whiska, whiska, whiska. And set aside. All right, now we're creaming 3/4 cup of unsalted butter at room temperature. Add that in there with a paddle attachment, mind you. Don't cream it with your hands. Get this nice and moving. Now we're adding in 3/4 cup of firmly packed brown sugar. I'm using light brown sugar. You could use dark brown sugar if you like. Toss it in there. Okay. You want this to get nice and light and fluffy, so it'll take a second. And you're gonna want to scrape the bowl down. All right, so looks pretty fluffy to me. I'm gonna add in 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. This is optional though, I'm gonna be real. Vanilla kind of gets lost among the other flavors. There's a lot going on in these cookies. So add that in, and then the 1/2 cup of molasses. So gross on its own, but in recipes, much better. Scrape the bowl down again. There's a lot of layers happening. Add 1 egg in. All right, now everything's incorporated. It's time to add our dry ingredients in here. Just gradually pour it in. Gradually, not all at the same time. Use your clean hands. Gonna scrape that bowl down again. This video should be called Scraping the Bowl Down. All right, so now we're gonna take this monster bit of gingerbread dough, plop it into a sealable plastic bag, just for ease of use. Set that aside. You can either press it out with your hands or roll it out, and we're gonna put this into the fridge overnight. Yes, overnight, or for at least 4 hours. Trust me, it's one of those recipes where it kind of has to happen. Into the fridge you go. I have a batch of dough that chilled overnight, and now we're gonna take it out. This stuff is a sticky, gooey, wet mess. I'm just warning you, it is not like my no spread sugar cookies, which you can click up here for. If you want a shape to be nice and perfect, go for that recipe. This is a delicious spiced concoction. It fluffs up a bit, it spreads out, but it's gingerbread. It's not really a way around it. Okay, I'm gonna cut this open. Let's flour our surface a bit. It smells really good, so gingery. Sprinkle some more flour on top. I'm telling you, it's gonna get messy ahead of time. Just wanna make sure it's nice and floured. Now we're gonna roll this out. Make sure you move it around as you roll it out too. Don't think everything's gonna be okay if you don't, because it's not. A little dusting. It's like gingerbread pizza dough. I have a selection of gingerbread men. This guy is my favorite, even though he's pretty big, so just start off by cutting it out. And then you can fill in the spaces with the other smaller gingerbread people. and just plop these directly onto your baking sheet. The excess dough can get re-rolled. You don't have to chill this overnight, but it helps. Be very ginger with these gingerbread men. I love being a dad, so I can say all of this stuff. And the dough is starting to warm up, so work quickly, peeps. Now I have a lot of scraps here, so you have a couple options. You can get smaller cookie cutter shapes and cut out some, stars, little Christmas stockings, whatever you'd like. Also, I find from personal experience that you end up kind of trying to pick these up too quickly and they start breaking. You really have to let them sit for a while to kind of cure before, otherwise they'll just snap the head off, you'll be sad. Or roll it up, make the whole batch right now. I guarantee you will definitely be snacking. These guys are gonna go into the oven at 350 for about 10 minutes. A little puffing, a little spreading. These guys are too close. I'm gonna move them around before they go into the oven and they'll be totally set. Okay, so I was about to roll out the rest of this dough that I kind of clumped together, my extras, but look at this. It is so liquidy already. You really have to work quickly. This has to be chilled again, unless you don't care about the shapes. You want to make little gingerbread goops, which is totally fine. They'll still be delicious, but for me, cover it back up into the fridge and let it chill. Cut shapes later. I want to have my gingerbread people holding on to something, or at least two of them. So I'm going to take a sheet of tin foil, crumple it up, nice and tight, and then just push it together, have it be roughly the same size as my peppermint candy. So I will bake the gingerbread person, gingerbread man, holding on to this ball of tin foil like this, and then once it comes right out of the oven, I'm going to do an Indiana Jones style swap and it'll harden with the arms holding the candy. Might it break? Yes, it might, so be careful and make extra. While those gingerbread men are in the oven, I'm going to make a very small batch of royal icing up. I usually don't use royal icing. I am not a cookie artist. I'm adding 1.5 cups of confectioner sugar into a bowl. This should probably be a larger bowl, but there you go. A couple dashes of cream of tartar. Just whisk that up a bit. Oh, I should definitely use an electric mixer. Let's see how this is gonna go. 1 egg white. That's a fresh egg. You can tell because it's really holding it together. The more watery the egg white, the older it is. Watery egg whites are good for making macaron, by the way. Let's start mixing it up. It's kind of like making a glaze, basically, but just with an egg white. It's gonna be kind of annoying because it'll be like clump, 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 and it'll magically turn into a glaze. And yes, there will be mess involved. You can also add more egg white or more confectioner sugar to change the consistency. For those crazy sugar cookies, you have the outline consistency and the flooding consistency. The flooding consistency is always more watery. So I'm not doing any flooding on these, just some outline piping for contrast. There we go. Look at that. I'm breaking my arm over here. This would be so much easier in an electric mixer, but I didn't want to do it. I don't know why. Wow. Okay, I'm going to add a little bit of vanilla in here. Just a drop. You could also add in any flavoring you want, even some peppermint extract. Almond extract is really popular too. That's nice. Okay, so you want to have a nice dripping consistency. This is not a nice dripping consistency. So we can add in either a little bit of water, some lemon juice, just enough, drop by drop, until it's the right piping consistency. This is close, but it's not right, a little thick. Just a couple drops of water. Oh no, my arm is so tired, I can't even tell you. There we go. That looks nice and silky. You can see it's really pretty. Okay, if you're not using this immediately, cover it, put it in a piping bag, because it'll be dried like that when it's exposed to air. So cover it immediately or use immediately. Those are your two options. I'm transferring my royal icing into a piping bag fitted with a small round tip. This is a number 3. I think a number 4 would work even better, but I can't find it. You can go all out decorating a gingerbread man, I'm gonna do like a nice one that I think is acceptable while still having time to like make dinner tonight and whatever else. A happy medium, if you will. So remember, this is a round tip, but if you don't have any piping tips, just snip the tip off of a pastry bag, or even a little Ziploc bag will work too. It's just kind of harder to grip. By the way, my gingerbread men came out of the oven. I let them cool until they were set, and you can lift them off easily now. They look nice. A little bit plump, but still totally recognizable as gingerbread people. We're gonna pipe on now and ready to eat afterwards. So I have all these random sprinkles. You can use whatever you'd like. These are confetti sprinkles, my favorite. They're good for like little eyeballs and buttons, if you will. I have some snowflake sprinkles. Sometimes I buy stuff on Amazon with it's like nighttime shopping, and sometimes people send me stuff. So I have a lot of various and sundry things in the pantry. But. Okay, now for the face. Little gingerbread man, very mediocre looking. Sorry, we all make sacrifices. Okay, those are really fun to make. You do have to chill the dough. It's honestly better to make it the night before, have it ready. And if you want to make crazy little shapes that are more intricate, freeze the dough, roll it really thin, punch the shapes out. And as you can see, one of the hands stuck, one of them just flopped to the side. You lazy cookie. You had one job. All right, thanks so much for watching. Hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and happy baking.